Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of the Bleed Blue Daily Show. I am Paul, joined by Jaden, and we are here to talk. Obviously, there's some interesting news out about football today that I don't think anybody was thinking that we're gonna be talking about. I don't want to say it's the lead story. It probably should be the lead story going on right now in Big Blue Nation, but it's not. Obviously, last night Kentucky beats Lipscomb. I think I jinxed the entire team when I said 100 is in sight with like 4.5 minutes to go, and we needed five. Like I think it was 7 points, and we didn't get it. So I am
They
the
decided to
jinx.
stop making every shot as opposed to
Yeah,
making every shot like they did the entire game.
yeah. I was the jinx. I was. I fully take responsibility for that because I feel like if it wasn't for me and my big mouth, we probably would have gotten there.
I think a lot of people would benefit from less of the big mouth. No, I'm just messing.
It's fine. I'm used to it. Kentucky wins the game. Obviously, 97-68. Very hot shooting, especially from the 3-point line yesterday. Very good start in the first half. A little bit colder in the second half, but listen, if you shoot 61% and a half from three, and you take more than like 5, you're probably going to have a good night offensively. Jaden, what was something that stuck out to you last night about the game?
Probably the intensity early on, especially defensively. The one question that could make this game competitive is: do they have a Duke hangover? Do they start slow because they get a little big because of the Duke game? Immediately, Otega Owe was like, "Oh, we'll just score 5 points to start the game, get 2 deflections." Lamont gets a steal and 2 deflections, I think, within before the first media timeout. They were up like 10-4 to start the game. Immediately, they came out wanting it more than Lipscomb, and you could tell that they were locked in from the jump, especially from Lamont and Otega. You're two steady guys. You're 2 leaders.
I do think, though, it's a little. Yeah, I think if we're talking and nitpicking a little bit, I don't know if Kentucky played its best game yesterday, to be honest with you. I know they had spurts, right? Like, it's crazy to say that you scored 97 points and didn't necessarily play yours. But in the first half, there was some lulls, right? Like, we didn't shoot really well. We gave up some open shots. They weren't hitting. I'm not saying we were going to lose and it's anything concerned. I'm not saying we had a hangover, but I'm also like, this is where this team is so good, right? Like, they are always trying to step on the opponent's throats. And that's exactly what I think that's 100% like a positive thing. But the other part there is like, we did go through a little bit of a spurt, but we kind of went through a little bit of a spurt against Duke too, where we didn't play. And that seems to be like maybe that this team has about a 5-6 minute lull where it doesn't, not that it's anything to be uber concerned about, but it didn't feel as clean as the other games that we had won by a lot.
I think it's a very fixable problem. It's very easy to fix because it's a couple specific players that are not yet, like, it's not immediate for them yet.
If you score 97 and have 5-6 minute lulls, you're going to win a lot of games anyway.
But short term, you can just not play them, which we've seen a couple times where they just go with a group of 5 or even a 6, in short spurts. But like, when the rhythm gets off, they have a 5 or 6 that they go to and settle things down. But yeah, it's and then long term, they just need experience. They just need to play the game more. It's not that they're playing bad. It just looks like it's a step slower than it needs to be to move correctly, I would say.
But that also could be intentional, and we're not even thinking about it too, right? Like, that could be an intentional thing to get game to keep development moving forward. Look, one thing I think we've learned. One thing I think we've learned. Yeah, Mark Pope is not someone who's doing things just like there's a rhyme or a reason in everything he does. Obviously, I don't think we were ever worried about losing the game last night, especially after the start. But like, I guess if you're looking for something, if you're looking for something on the hey, like but I think it's a negative positive, right? Like I'm saying, we won that game pretty easily, and I don't feel like we played. I don't feel like Kentucky as a whole basketball wise yet has hit. I don't think it's hit Gallup yet. Like I still feel like it's trotting. I think there's gears and levels to this team, and that's what I think is really exciting. So it was a
Yeah.
net positive in what I was trying to get to.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they've been their best on both sides in the same game yet. I don't know about you. Last night, defensively, I thought they put on a clinic.
Yeah, no, I think defensively, well, yeah, I thought they played real well defensively.
I thought it was beautifully defensive, especially the first half. I mean, the second half they started subbing and they started switching things up and doing things. But the first half they were locked in on defense. I mean, I mentioned the start that they had in like 3 seconds. I'll have the first half stats. Yeah, 26.5% for Lipscomb, 10.5% from three. I'm not even going to try to say the guy's name. 41, the real good one. 33%, 0 for 4 from three in the first half. They very
Ignacevic.
clearly, yeah. However, they were saying it in rough. They were saying it different than that, though. That's how I would have said it, but they weren't saying it how I would have guessed in rough. I don't know
Is
if
it
that was their.
Anacevic? Anicevic?
I don't even know. I
Yeah.
don't know. That's why I'm not even going to go with it. The 41, the one that was good in the second half.
Yeah. He ended
He's
up with
like by
17
far the best
points.
player.
Yeah.
He averages 17 now. It was 20 before we played him.
No, he scored 17 points is what
Oh yeah,
is what
yeah.
I'm
He
yeah.
was averaging 20 points a game coming into the game, over 20 points.
So he almost got it. He almost got his average. He couldn't
Yeah, but
throw it in the ocean in the first half, though, to be
it
honest with
was
you.
inefficient. Yeah, in the second half he was like 6'9", can move, can shoot.
He's a good player, man. Like,
Clearly looked athletic. Like
that wouldn't be a guy I'd be like, yeah, if he entered the transfer portal, I wouldn't be mad about it.
This is what I've been thinking since I'm glad that we're on the same page. That is your like backup. That can be your like backup 3-4 swing. Like Ainsley's leaving, he could do the Ainsley thing. It feels like he could fit that. I'm sure there's a guy that's better than him that can do that thing, but just from watching him, it looked like he could do that.
Let's kind of look through the box score a little bit last night. Jackson Robinson has a really nice bounce back game. 20 points. He didn't start the game particularly strong either. There was kind of a hangover, and he kind of just shot himself out of it. And then once it fell, it was. I think he was 6 of 10 overall, and I think he was like 0 of 4 to start. So he was like what 6
I
is.
think he was 1 of 5. I think he went miss, make, miss or something. Or
Yeah,
no,
I mean, but he got
he
hot.
missed 3 shots in the first half, yeah. And
Yeah,
then in the first
and then
half
got
to the
hot.
second half, he got hot.
Lamont Butler, who I thought played a phenomenal game yesterday. It was very hard not to put him as the MVP, but I think it's because Jackson had that big bounce back, right? Like, and I think just from the leadership perspective, that's why we gave it to him. But Lamont had 16 points. He also added.
I think if Jackson had 17 points against Duke, then Lamont would have been the MVP last night. I thought he was great.
Yeah. Otega also another like. Here's the thing about Otega that I'm noticing: his field goal efficiency is silly. Like I never have seen him like 7 of 15. Right? Like this dude's like 5 of 6 or 6 of 8 or 7 of 10. Like he's not like his make miss. I wonder what his overall field goal percentage is because it's got to be high.
Yeah, I'll get that here in a second. But he's literally only shooting like layups and
wide open 3-pointers,
wide open catches, and it's not even just threes; it's catch and shoot threes, which is
Otega's shooting 54. Otega's shooting 80% from the field. Oh no, sorry, that's for the 58.3% from the field and 54% from three. You ready for this? Our 3-point percentage as a team: Otega 54.5, Kobe Brea 78.9, Lamont Butler 44.4, Jackson Robinson is one of the worst, 31.8. Andrew Carr 50%, Ainsley Almanor 38.5, Kirk Kriisa 29.4, Colin Chandler 16.7. Nobody else has attempted a three. Well, that's a lie. Not attempted. Nobody else has hit one because I know Travis Perry and all those guys have. And Trent Noah's attempted, and so is Brandon Garrison. Free throw percentage, Otega 80%, Kobe Brea 100, Lamont 63.6. He's got to bring that up. Here's a real big shocker. Oh no, sorry, that's not. Yeah, it is too. Amari at 52.6. Jackson Robinson 66.7. That's got to get better. He's got to get better on the free throw line. I don't understand that. And then you got 90, 80, 100, 100. So I mean, shooting wise, and then field goal percentage. Lamont's at 50%, Amari 54, Jackson 44, Andrew Carr 58.3, Ainsley 52.6, Garrison 50%. Kirk Reese is just not efficient in field goal percentage. That dude's just like a wild animal on the court.
He hasn't really shot very well, but he shot well at West Virginia and Arizona, so I'm not really worried about him.
Well, I think what you got. Look, here's the thing. Kobe Brea is not going to shoot 70% from three all season. I mean,
he's not even shooting 70%. He's shooting 70% of his shots.
78
wishes.
And yeah, oh yeah, I know.
It's the wishes.
What is the over under? I bet this would be an interesting bet. What is the over under Kobe Brea? What is the over under on Kobe Brea that you think 3-point percentage to end the season?
Are you asking me to set a line for you or to predict his percentage?
Just talking out loud.
I would set the line around like 50.5, 51, somewhere in there. I think he'll finish around like low 50s. Because last year he was like 49.5, right? Or something like that. I think he'll be open more this year. And I think I mean, nobody in the world shoots much like any better than that. He's already one of the best shooters in the world. So I would guess it goes up a percent or two from last year, finishes in the low 50s. But I mean, he is hooping. And, he just needed to get over that foot injury in those exhibition games. That's all he needed to finally unlock what he was doing. Another takeaway I had last night was the rebounding. I know that Pope has made that a big time emphasis in some of the post games and just talking to media and stuff. They won by 15. 3 guys had 7 or more rebounds. I mean, Jackson Robinson and Kobe Brea both had 7 rebounds. Amari had double digits again. He might end up averaging double digits. It seemed like they attacked the glass a ton. They kept using that as a point of emphasis, and they've answered what the guys asked for them.
They need to. I think the big thing there is limiting possessions, right? Like I think Kentucky is a very good defensive team. I don't know if I put them in an elite defensive team yet. I think they can get there. Like I think they couldn't get there. All right. So that's why I think, especially now, limiting opposing possessions is huge. But like, man, like I feel like we're nitpicking with this team and it's not in a bad way. I think it's because we're trying to find like where is the hole? Where is the gap? Because this team seems really good at a lot of things.
The hole is you play a team that's more athletic than you again. That we won the Duke game and we played well and the experience won. I haven't said it yet. I don't want to play Duke again. That I was worried that was our weakness. It looked like our weakness until they started getting hurt and the freshman legs ran out. In 5 months, do they get hurt and the freshman legs run out? I don't know. Or not 5, 3, whatever, 4. I don't know. But like that kind of team, a team that is big and athletic, and can run with us, that is the kind of team that scares me. Now the good thing is there aren't a lot of teams like that.
I'm not scared of Duke. I'm not scared of Duke.
I disagree.
I don't think Kentucky played. I don't even think Kentucky played particularly well and won the game. So I got no qualms. If we play Duke again, I got no qualms playing them again. Maybe if we play Gonzaga, we win. Maybe there's like, I don't want that team again. But Like if you look at the aspect of Duke's improvement and Kentucky's improvement, and you average that out, I honestly don't know. Watching, what, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 3 weeks of college basketball, is there's a team out there where you go, I really don't want to play them. I don't see that. I think Kentucky right now has shown that they can probably play it. Like if they can win dirty, I think they can play with anyone.
Well, yeah, they can play with anyone. I'm just it's not that there's a team that I don't think we can beat. Obviously, like I said, dude, we just beat them. It's just if you made me pick a team that I want to avoid, like a team that I don't have to worry about playing them the rest of the season, I would pick Duke in a heartbeat. It looked like a bad matchup when they were healthy and running. They weren't even shoot. They shot horrendous, and they had good shooters missing a couple of times. Now we let the bad shooters shoot a little bit, but they missed a couple. They missed some open shots from some dudes
So did we.
that can hit.
So did
We
we.
did, but they also dropped a couple dudes with injury. So like it's it just looked like a bad matchup when both teams were running, and
I
both
didn't
both
think it
teams
did.
were running.
I didn't. Listen, when I sat next to you the whole game, and I said it doesn't feel like we're losing. The whole game, I said it. I didn't think we were.
And the whole
I
game, I
didn't
sat
feel
next
like
to you and said it feels like we're losing by 20.
I didn't feel that way. I felt like we hadn't played well. That all we had to do is like kind of get it together, hit some shots, and I even said, look, Pope doesn't know. I said this is where. What did I said this to you, and I said it on the live stream. This is the aspect that I said that this is where Pope's got to figure out his rotation. This is the unknown aspect of this UK team. It had nothing to do with are they good, are they talented. It was can Pope get the rotation right this game and figure it out, and he did. Right, the last 10 minutes it was a masterclass of coaching, masterclass.
Yeah.
And you know what the end of the day is? At the end of the day, if we play Duke again, John Shire's still the coach and Mark Pope's still the coach. And in that situation, I feel confident because I don't think John Shire is a good coach.
Yes, I disagree with that. I think he's a very good coach. I think Mark Coach ran circles around him last Tuesday.
I don't think
And
Shire's
that's
a
because
good.
Mark Pope is also a very good coach.
I don't think Shire's a good. I think Shire's in in a Cal model. He's a decent coach. He's a good recruiter, but in game X's and O's is where he struggles, and I think that's something for him. Now he's young, right? Like he is young. It doesn't mean he can't get there. I just don't think now I like that matchup.
Yeah,
But
I
again,
mean,
we're splitting hairs.
yeah, I think that's just if there's a weakness and it's like I don't know. I don't know if we're watching this and saying that this is the best team in the country, and maybe they are, but it doesn't feel like maybe they should be.
Who,
I
Kentucky?
don't even know if I totally believe that.
Kentucky?
Yeah, but like if there's not a weakness with Duke, what could be the weakness?
I don't know if I'd say Kentucky's the best team in the country, but I'll be honest with you. I don't know if I could say anybody's the best team in the country right now. I'll just be honest. Like, I don't think
Is
I
there
can look at
any
any team and say they're head and shoulders better than everyone right now. I
is
think
there
you
any
have.
team is there any team that neutral court, no fans, empty gym, just the guys playing, they play 100 games, you would pick them to beat Kentucky more than 50 times?
Why would we do 100? What about just 10?
Okay, 10. Well, I didn't know if you wanted to say 5. I don't know if you want to say 6, but
Right now,
yeah,
no.
so you
I
would pick
on.
Kentucky to win a best of 7 over everybody in the country right now?
I think out of 10, I think what I was gonna say is I think there's about 8 teams right now that I would say are probably better than the other group of 8 behind them. Like right now.
Right.
I would say Kansas, Gonzaga, Auburn, Kentucky, um, UConn until it's not UConn, Iowa State, Alabama, Houston, and Gonzaga. Right, those are probably the 8 I would say right now are the 8 teams that to me I think you got to put them in like kind of quadrants. I would put Kentucky in quad 1 right now of teams. If you had like 4 quads of 8, I would put them in quad one. I don't think that there's any elite status yet. I think you've
I
got right now
think
probably 10 teams that could win the title.
I think maybe the only difference I would have is I think I'm just a lot higher on Duke than you are. I would have Duke in that group firmly.
I don't see. I don't think. I just it, until every team that I mentioned has experience, scoring, everything, right? Like they're a very well-rounded, balanced team. And I am done. I am done with the days of giving teams that have to rely heavily on true freshmen on giving them status of quad ones or elite status until they prove it. Because they've seen it so many times with Kentucky. I've seen it so many times now in the last 4 years. It doesn't win. I don't care how good you have a season. It doesn't win in tournament time. And until that is proven wrong, I'm not going to put it. Now, look, if they end up going 38-2 or something like that, all right, we're going to have a different conversation. But as of right now, I would put them in the second quad tier. I think all those
I
other
guess
8 teams would beat Duke right now.
I guess that's just the difference in opinion is when you say they haven't proven anything. I think they have to me.
Well,
They've
they haven't.
looked legit in the 4 games,
Ooh.
and I think that
I
we've
mean,
looked legit as well. Like
yeah,
that's why I don't want to. And I think that it's often like good team beats good team. Oh, that the
well, we're
losing
going to
team
find out more
might
about
not be
Duke on
good.
Friday. We're going to find out more
What?
about Duke on Friday, on
Which one's
Tuesday,
Friday?
Friday, Arizona, Tuesday, Kansas. So you're going to find out a lot
Arizona.
about if Duke loses the next 2, you got to, I'm right. They split,
They can
a
lose the
lot's
next
out.
two, and they can lose the next two, and if they still look good in a loss, I'm still going to think that they're good.
It does well, but that's terrible logic way of thinking because now if they lose the next 2, Duke has no shot at a 1 seed. 0.
I honestly, I know that being a 1 seed matters, and it's better to be a 1 seed. We talked about that a lot yesterday. There's more than four, like there's more than 4 teams are good enough to win the championship.
Okay, but
They don't have to be a 1 seed for me to think they're good enough to win the championship.
exactly, but there's 8 other teams that I think are better than them right now, and if Duke loses, let's say Duke loses the next 2, they don't have a lot of quad one big time wins in the ACC this year. They don't have that. They don't have that many good teams. Miami might end up being really good. They might end up getting be ranked. Maybe like an NC State or something like that. You've got a couple. Clemson, people thought might be, but now they're not playing well. Duke doesn't have the path. Like if you put Duke as a 4 seed and they got to go through 2 or 3 of the other teams that I mentioned to get there, they're not doing it. They're not doing it.
So they have to be bad if they lose to 3 of the top. I'm like Ginger Jack Harlow. Yeah, I guess
has
he's a little
nothing to
ginger.
do has nothing to do with being bad. It has to do with being in the top tier of what I'm trying to say the teams are. And I don't think that they're in the top quad of teams.
All right. That's probably enough Duke talk for the for this show. Do you have any other big takeaways from Lipscomb? Anything else that stood out?
No, not really. I mean, obviously we did really well on fast break. I mean, look, we did what we had to do, right? We won the game by 30. We played really well. The game was never really in doubt. And you got another comfortable win. I think everybody should have to run laps for not hitting 100 points. So cut half the team.
Which half?
I think we should definitely get rid of Robinson, Ainsley, Lamont, Brea, and Ortega. They suck. If they would have scored 50 in the first half, we wouldn't have had this problem. So,
I can see how that could be the conclusion. I can see
someone's
how
gonna
that could be
clip
the
that
problem.
and post it. Someone's just gonna clip that part and post it. It's no. I look. We have to nitpick a little bit on stuff. I think on games. But I mean, look, you can't. I think somebody said it's the first time we've been like 4-0 since
Well,
18
when
or
was the last time we
something.
won the Champions Classic? That's the first time it's possible. What did we say? It was Michigan State in 19 with Maxey?
I thought we lost that game.
We won, but we lost the next one to Evansville. We beat them with Maxey because Maxey hit the shots.
Yeah.
And then Hero lost to Duke. Knox and Shea played Kansas. I don't think I remember that game at all, to be honest with you. And then
So this is the
UNC
first
Duke.
time that Kentucky has started the season with a 4-0 record since the 2016-2017 season when they won their first 7 games.
So it's Fox, Monk, Bam in 2016.
They lost to UCLA was their first loss.
Yeah.
That in and of itself is nuts. Nuts.
It was really good.
Nuts.
I'll give you a guess on which teams make it the farthest. The teams that do really good at the beginning of the year too.
Yeah, I mean, like there's not a lot of. I mean, Kentucky had the busted that mold a couple times, with some of the Final Four teams, but
yeah, doing something that is not and has yet to be done again.
Correct.
It was an exception to the rule, is what Cal's first 7 years were. That is not a normal thing. But they were
fun
good.
though.
Those teams were really good.
So shift gears a little bit. Obviously, football news today. Justin Rowland put out that Vince Marrow is being looked at by Southern Miss. I think there's some chatter about Brad White in some places. Since then, I think there's been some, he's turned it down. I haven't seen, I think Vince has done this before, right? So everybody, I think, needs to, first of all, put the hat on. Vince has flirted, going to leave or whatever, right? Remember the Michigan flirtation a couple of years ago when it was really big? We thought he was going to leave and we kept him. This could be a feel appreciated, trying to get a rate. I don't know, right? I don't know. I'm not saying I think he's going to, I do think though, so he talked about it and then, I've talked to 3 other people that would know today. And I think everybody's kind of in the agreement that this is the most serious thing that or the most serious, I think, that we've had to probably losing him. If Kentucky did lose Brad White and if Kentucky did lose Vince Marrow, I do not like where this thing is going.
Yeah, on that point, burn it down. Just cancels next year. But I'm gonna make the case to not leave, or maybe explain my confusion with the situation, and maybe you can fill some gaps as to some of the appeal and things of that.
By the way, just real quick, Navy dropped their jerseys for the Army Navy game, and Army had dropped theirs, Navy dropped theirs, and they are fire.
Well, son of a gun, hold on. You have to remind me that I wanna.
No, just talk about that. We can talk about the Army Navy jerseys at the end.
Son of a gun. Okay, Vince Marrow. I don't understand the appeal of Southern Miss at all, really. So with the Michigan and even the Michigan State stuff, maybe that's a good first question. What is that the closest you think he's ever been? Was that the Frito bag when Michigan offered him a bunch of money?
Well, the difference obviously is Southern Miss is talking about a head coaching position.
I'm just saying.
Right?
I'm just saying before the Southern Miss stuff. Would you say the Frito bag Michigan?
Yeah, I think that was that we knew about. Yeah, I think that's probably
that was the closest that it ever felt like he was to leaving.
Also, here's the thing. Southern Miss apparently has a lot of NIL money that they're wanting to throw at stuff. So there's another piece to it.
So, yeah. So I also think it's interesting that the Southern Miss head coach makes less money than Vince Marrow.
Yeah, but I obviously I think they're willing to bring him and invest in the NIL and everything. You got to think that the money's going to be close.
Is that what I'm not understanding? They have some boosters that are going all in, so long as the current.
That's what it sounds like. I mean, you've also got Brett Favre involved and things like that, right? So I think that there's.
You want to be involved with Brett Favre? I don't.
Brett Favre's a Southern Miss legend. I mean, and he's got a shit
Yeah,
ton of money, so why not?
but you know what? He's him and money, right?
He's
You
not the
don't
one
know about
doing
him?
it. Yeah, I do. I just he's
No.
not the one. He's not the money
You make
behind
sure
it.
we understood Brett Favre's
He's
history with
not the
money.
money behind it, is what I'm saying. He's like part of the. I think he's part of the cog in the wheel, right? I mean, no matter what you can say, like he's a legend that went there, and I mean, he still lives in that part of the world, and he's very favorable, at that school. People love him, so you still got to take that into consideration.
That would change things if they have a bunch of money that they only will spend if there's a different coach. And if they will spend it if Vince is the coach. So that makes more sense because I look at lower pay, like he's the tight ends coach. And he is paid, first of all, is he the high okay, so he's the fourth highest paid coach on our staff. Is he the fourth highest paid in the country? Does anyone that's not a coordinator or head coach make 1.2 or 1.5 or whatever he makes? It can't
It's
be.
1.3.
There's most coordinator. I mean, he would be a top 50 coordinator at both sides with
Can you
that.
believe his buyout's only 200,000
For him to leave or for us to get rid of him?
per year? So it's 400,000.
For him to leave or for us to get rid of him?
Just his buyout. I don't know.
I feels low either way.
The Southern Miss head coach salary, it says, is 824. But you got to imagine if they're going to try and bring Vince in, it's probably going to be in that
That's
3
what
to
I'm
three and a
saying.
half
It has to
range.
be. Is it that or is it? Maybe it's a little conspiracy theorist of me, but it always comes back to like why would Vince Marrow go there? It doesn't really feel like it makes sense. Why would Brad White flirt with some other thing? It doesn't feel like it makes the most sense unless it's things that aren't out loud yet. Is there
That
something
that is
going?
the
Is there
that is
something
it.
going on?
That is the number one piece to it, right? It is, and I think this is the overall concern that fans have, or should have, if Vince is leaving, if Brad White's leaving.
What's
Vince to
going on?
me matters more than Brad White, to be honest.
Yes.
Brad White is not necessarily the greatest recruiter in the world. Um,
Yeah.
I don't think he's bad, but I mean, you can. Um, we've had good defenses, sure, okay, I'll give you that. Um, I feel like coordinators. I feel like if him and Vince though leave, it's not good. Like that's a bad sign to me.
What is the percent chance Vince and Brad White leave and Stoops is still the coach next season?
I mean, you know this. I mean, we talk about this in our little team meetings and stuff. I mean, everyone's getting, and like a couple of us know people. I mean, look, here's the thing. Vince wasn't leaving. Like, there's three things that we learned today that threw three things that we thought we knew kind of into some upheaval, right? So obviously behind the scenes, there's a lot of fluidity, I think, in the football program. I think that probably gives, I think that validates some of that logic and thinking that there is some fluidity behind the scenes going on. Um, until something viable comes out about the future of Stoops, which we've not had, right? Everybody is like, you have had people talk about who the next coach might be, who Kentucky might be interested, but you've never had a Justin Rowland, Jack Pilgrim, and I mean, look, we're not connected like those guys by any means, but nobody that we know is saying that stuff either, right? And if they're not saying it, right, not us, but if like the guys who have done this for a long time aren't saying it, and then the ancillary people that everybody else knows isn't saying it, right? Like that's the aspect. Like there's been some Brad White mumblings for 3 weeks now, I think 3 weeks. So that's
What's
not
that?
shocking. It's not shocking, but the Vince thing kind of came out of left field because I don't think anybody was thinking about that. Um, I I don't think Stoops. I don't know if there's a situation where Stoops does anything. It doesn't matter who's here. It doesn't matter if I'm the offensive coordinator. But I am vastly more worried about where this is going to go if we don't have someone like Vince, because Vince is our top recruiter. He is the top dog on the staff when it comes to pulling the good players. Now, I'm not saying we can't go get another defensive coordinator. Like, look, they could go get a defensive coordinator who maybe he's got that. Look, if Oklahoma fired Brent Venables and Brent Venables came here to be the defensive coordinator, I'm like, all right, good trade, right?
I'd be
I
excited.
mean, good trade. Good trade.
I think I might be higher on Brad White than you. I don't know that I would just be like good trade, but I would say that like I'm no longer worried about defensive court. Like if Brad White were to leave, I would be very worried because there's not a lot of dudes like him that at programs like Kentucky. If he were to leave, I would be worried. But if they were to get Venables, I would be like, oh, okay, no, yeah, they're good.
Well, that's what I mean, right? Like I'm not saying, look, if they get rid of not get rid of, but if Brad White left and we got somebody who we didn't really know that didn't have a lot of name or recruiting prowess, I think we go, oh boy, I don't know about this. But like, here's the aspect. Like, let's just say this. Let's just say Oklahoma, because there's rumblings that maybe something happens there. Let's say they got rid of Oklahoma. Let's say Brett Venables comes here. Or dude, I take Will Muschamp in a heartbeat too. Like Will Muschamp, Brett Venables, like somebody like that. You got to get a guy that like, no matter what you want to say about people about Muschamp's had great defenses and where he's gone. He's done really well. He's got name recognition, and the guy can recruit. All right. If you get somebody like that, obviously Brett Venables had elite defenses. But if Venables, let's say, left, we're probably pulling 2 to 4 of Oklahoma's better defensive players if he leaves. Right? Like somebody like that. If he left and came here, like if they fired him and he came here as defensive coordinator. Look, I got nothing on Brett Venables. Listen, there's nothing saying Brett Venables is going to come here. No one's even talking about it. I'm just using this as an example, right? Somebody like that maybe is a head coach at somewhere that was a really good coordinator. He gets fired or something. He comes here to be a coordinator. There's some good players on his team. Maybe they come with him as a transfer. He's a good recruiter. I think that you can win that battle. Like you can even replace a Vince Morrow in that situation if you get a guy like that. That's the part where
how many guys are there like Vince Morrow?
That's the thing. That's the part.
Like there's not a lot of them.
I think if you got to go up to $2 million a year to keep Vince, you keep Vince. You give him $2 million a year, and you never let him. Like you got to keep. If you have to do it, you do it because he's invaluable to the recruiting aspect, but he's also invaluable to the NIL fundraising side because he is very likable in that world.
Their salaries are fake money. Pay him whatever he wants. Like what? It's they have money. It's I find it funny that we're like athletic department has money. They don't have any NIL money. It's different pots of money. The athletic department has the money to pay them too. The problem is if you pay Vince too, you now have to pay Bush and Brad White or whoever your next coordinators are more than two.
Yeah, but we pay our coordinators.
Nobody's going to be our coordinator without being paid higher than Vince.
But we pay coordinators well. Like that's not a problem. We don't.
Well, so if I'm looking through, you would have to go from 1.5 to probably 2.5, and that would make you the highest paid coordinator in the country by probably 33% or something. Like that would be spending a lot over. It would be over market. It would be bad price. But also, Vince Morrow is like what makes everything work. So you might have to.
So Brad White's not even one of the top 10 highest paid coordinators.
Yeah, not yet.
He's making 1.6, so he might be. I think he might be one of the one, but like if you look, you got multiple coordinators making over.
Did he get an extension when LSU wanted him 2 years ago?
Huh?
Or was that last? Did he get an extension when LSU wanted him last year or 2 years ago?
Yes.
So he has a recent raise. Yeah, I would say he
just got it.
I think probably top 20 at worst. I would guess top 10.
Yeah. He's right below like the top 10 highest paid supposedly. I mean, not everything, but so here's kind of the
public record like that. These are the numbers.
Exactly. Um, man, that'd be tough to go get him. If Kentucky had it, let's just say if Brad White left, and if you had to go poach a guy from another school, do you have anybody where you're like, I'd want to go after this guy?
Oh gosh, I gotta look at the team
That
so I
might
can
be
make sure.
realistic.
I gotta look at the team so I can make sure I think of everybody.
So if I'm looking at it, I think you got to look at Phil Parker at Iowa. I think that's a guy you could potentially get. Tony White at Nebraska. Martindale at Michigan. Maybe you might be able to get him away from Michigan. Maybe not. I don't know. Man. Other than that, you might be able to get like a Mike Tressel from
So what it is
Wisconsin.
it's gonna be it's either a bad power four team with a good defense or a really good group of five team with a good defense, and they're gonna take the coordinator that Stoops likes the best. Or he's gonna give it to
Uh,
his brother. And I'm gonna throw a fit on the show.
yeah, I wouldn't want to do that. Yeah, that's not something I would be happy for. Where is Muschamp right now?
Is he still an analyst for
He's
Georgia?
at
Or is he is
Georgia. Yeah,
that
yeah,
television?
yeah. He's at Georgia. I'd go get him. Hey, listen, I'm not gonna lie.
He's like is he like
Huh?
co-DC or something? Is he like co-DC now, or is he still just an analyst?
Let me look. I'm pulling his profile up. Co-defensive coordinator. I'm gonna tell you right now. I don't give an F. I go get Muschamp. I would.
I would go for either of the Georgia guys.
Well, yeah, but you're not
That's a
gonna
good
get the
defense.
main guy. You're not getting
Hey, maybe Muschamp's kicking his butt and he's tired of it.
you're not getting Schumann or Sherman or whatever his name is.
What if Kirby goes to the Cowboys?
Maybe. God
Then
bless.
you
Please
might
let Kirby
be
go to the Cowboys. Then Stoops is going to
oh
Georgia. Stoops is going to go to Georgia
to be the DC.
to be the head coach.
No.
Who would
If you
Georgia
were
get? Here's a
Georgia,
good question. Here's a fun little game. If Kirby did, I'm not. Listen, I'm not really sold that Kirby wouldn't listen to the Cowboys at $15 million a year.
the Cowboys are the one because they have the stupid Jerry Jones money. They
Yeah,
could pay him up. They could buy him whatever he wants.
they would make
So
him the highest paid coach in NFL history. But
so
if
the
okay,
fun
so
game
let's
is
just say Georgia. Let's say Kirby leaves. Who do they get?
Dan Lanning, Oregon.
That maybe, yeah. I mean, I think he's number
He,
one. He's the
he
target.
denied the Miami job. He denied the Bama job. He's either staying at Oregon for the rest of his career or he's waiting for Georgia or Ohio State to open. It's
That
Georgia,
would make
Oregon,
the
or
most
Ohio State
sense.
for the rest of his career.
That would make the
So
most sense. Yeah.
I think Dan Lanning would get the first call.
Who's second on the list after
And
Dan
then you
Lanning?
start to get then you start to find some trouble.
I think the guy from Arizona State. I think they might look at him.
He's just
He's turned that
feels like a
program
big
around.
jump. It
Would
feels
they
like a
look at
big
here's a really weird question.
lane.
Would they maybe I think if you're looking in the SEC, I think Lane's probably the
Heupel.
only one. Huh?
Heupel.
Heupel? I don't know about that. I don't think so. I don't think they'd go after Heupel. I don't. I think Kiffin would be
Shane
one you'd
Beamer.
watch. Huh?
Shane Beamer. It's a
I
man who
mean,
can win. That's a man who can win with a talent disadvantage right there. It's a man who can make some adjustments.
I
I
think if you're looking at the
Dion.
SEC,
Dion's the answer.
I think Kiffin makes a
Dion.
lot of sense. I think Kiffin would make sense. Obviously, if Lanny didn't, if you go past, but I think you also again, I think they would look at. I think they definitely would look at Dillingham at Arizona State. I think you kind of have to. I think they.
Is there a world they would promote
Indiana's head coach, maybe. I know he just got a big raise, but there's an offset chance that they throw 10 or 11 at him. I
Just
think that
feels
would be
early.
stupid.
Just feels early.
But other than that, man, like the Georgia job, like the Alabama job, like you just kind of like there's Sark, maybe Sark. Sark's
Do we
another they
think
might
Sark?
throw.
Do we think Sark would go to Georgia though if he didn't go to Bama? Like I felt like Bama was the only team that could take him from Texas.
Yeah. I mean, maybe Nick Saban comes out of retirement, coaches
What
Georgia. I
about
mean,
Brian Kelly if he can
F
win a
no.
couple games?
F no.
Not maybe not this year, but
F
like
no. Hell,
there's a world.
hell no. Hell no. Brian Kelly will never sniff the Georgia job. Mark Stoops has a better chance of being the Georgia head coach than Brian Kelly. I will tell you that right now. I like honestly, Georgia is a type of job I feel like Mark Stoops would actually be really good at. Brian Kelly could F up a
I
wet
mean,
dream. All right. Like, let's just be honest. Like,
listen,
there's no shot. Zero. But that's the question. Does Georgia have to go get a stopgap guy? Like, there's not another Kirby Smart out there right now. I mean, but that we know of. I mean, unless they, I don't think they would look at someone like Summerall.
what
I don't
about
think
what about Miami's offensive coordinator?
no. Shannon Dawson? Are you insane?
I just wanted to see what you would say.
You're a fucking idiot.
I'm just looking through teams, and I saw I looked through the teams, looked for head coaches. I didn't really find much that I loved. So then I was
Stupid.
like, who are the good offenses and who are the good defenses?
Listen, this could be here. Here is an interesting thing. There is a world where Georgia is looking for a new coach. Tennessee's looking for a new coach. Imagine like what all that's going to do. Like there's a world where you might look next year and realize Mark Stoops still your head coach and go, well, dodged a bullet on that.
The Georgia Tennessee bidding war for some coordinator that probably doesn't deserve either job is going to be hilarious if that ends up
But
happening. Now, I find it unlikely that either of them are open this offseason, but it would be very funny.
Let's just spin reality. Let's say Venables gets fired at Oklahoma. Which I think if anybody's going to splash a lot of money to get rid of a coach, it's going to be Oklahoma. I just think that I think they see that they are not in a good position. And they're miles behind Texas again. So I think that that's a possibility. So let's just spin reality and says that I think they're going to throw everything plus the kitchen sink at Heupel, like everything in the kitchen sink. Like I think they will try and make Heupel the highest paid coach in college football, like or at least on par with Kirby. But let's say Kirby leaves. Let's say Kirby goes to Dallas, which we talked about this, by the way, to our credit, in like August or September. We've been kind of like saying that this might be a thing. And the grumpier he gets about stuff, the more I'm like, he might just say, F all this dumb stuff, F NIL, screw the college football committee. I'm going to go make $15 million a year and build the team that I want to build. If Georgia's open and if Lane's open, here's the crazy thing. Would Tennessee look at Lane Kiffin again?
I was about to say, if Heupel were to leave them, they may have to go after Lane.
He's the best. Like, if you think about it, he is the best coach to go to Tennessee. I don't think he'll do it.
I don't think he would either. He's, just from glancing around, there's not a lot of really good teams that like don't have their coaches secured or don't have big question marks. Like Indiana is the one that's like they're good. They might not be the most locked in, but like, do they want to go after 1 year with the guys? Like, it's just James Madison. It's all of his guys that he had the last couple of years. Like when those guys leave, is it the same? That's something you have to. That's something that Georgia would figure out.
Yeah. Nah, look, I think you're right. I think maybe they take a flyer there.
There's not a lot.
I think it's got to be Lanning. It's got to be Lanning.
Lanning and Saban would be call 1 and 2.
I don't think Saban's the call.
I think he'd get a call. I think he got to try.
Not for Georgia. I mean, he's making $8 million. He's making $8 million, and he was the defensive coordinator at Georgia, and he could go and won national titles. So he could go back to Georgia at $11 million. I think he would. I think for Georgia, it'd be Lanning or bust. Like it's just like, what's his face at USC? But his Lincoln Riley, his shine is worn way off, like way off. He hasn't been worth a crap for the last 5 years. and he's like one of the highest paid college coaches in college football. He gets more talent than anybody.
He's an
If you
offensive
so
coordinator.
he is. Here's it is the interesting piece here. Like, what if Tennessee has a new coach? If Georgia has a new coach, who else is going to have a new coach this year in college football? There's a world LSU's open. I mean, there's a world where you could have 3 of these teams that, I mean,
it feels like all the hot seat coaches like won.
Billy
Why did all
Napier
the
is not
hot seat
going
coaches
anywhere.
start winning?
So if we look at it, Pittman, so there's a world where you have Arkansas open, LSU open, Georgia, and Tennessee. And technically Oklahoma open for maybe a
And I
5.
would say,
But could you imagine, like, those
I
are
would,
all like blue blood programs.
but I would say all 4 of those programs are less than 50% chance of maybe not Arkansas. The other 3 less than 50% chance of
I
becoming
think
winners.
Arkansas has a high probability of looking for a new coach. I think LSU's one more loss away from having to get rid of Kelly. Unless it's just, I don't know what his buyout is, so I don't know if it's prohibitive.
Who did they play the last 3 games? They played Vandy at home at night. No. Oh yes, they play Vandy at home at night, and they play Oklahoma at home at night. They're winning their last 2 games. He's fine.
Who? LSU?
Yeah, they
Who
played
they got?
night games against Vandy and Oklahoma to finish the season.
I'm gonna tell you right now, there's a world where the Vandy can beat them.
There is, but I'll take a night game in Baton Rouge over Vanderbilt.
Yeah, same. I will, but I
mean,
what have they lost? 3 or 4? 4. They've lost 4 already. Yeah.
Yeah, but like 8-4. Who were their 4 losses to? Florida's a tough one. They lost to Bama. Oh, did they lose the first game of the year?
USC.
USC. That's not great. Well, maybe. Well, as I keep saying the things that they've done.
Yeah, but his buyout is $60.8 million.
All right, just kidding. LSU is not open.
Yeah, LSU's not opening. LSU's not opening. Not open. I'd say there's a good shot. Arkansas is probably open. I'd say that's a decent shot. I'd say there's a shot. If he goes there, why would you? I wouldn't. Everyone's talking Summerall right now. Everyone's talking Summerall right now about something. Here's the thing. Why, if you're John Summerall, you're going to go to Arkansas or Auburn? Wait, why? Why would you do that?
If they pay you,
I mean, maybe, but I mean, Tulane's not a broke program.
They don't have as much money as Auburn or Arkansas. The thing about Summerall is
Hugh Freeze's buyout's $20 million, so that's way more.
I think they're going to stick one more, to be honest.
You think
they might do it because they're crazy, but I think they're going to stick one more, Auburn, because I don't even think they're bad. They're kind of like us. Like, I don't even think we're bad. They just lose for some reason. Like, it's like they try to lose. They're like, oh, we played good for a while. Here we go.
Summerall, I don't think would go to Arkansas. I just don't. Maybe would. I just don't feel like it.
Wondering if it feels like a Summerall type of person, like a good G5. But the problem is there aren't a lot of good G5s. The good G5s are Army. Not a lot of programs are taking what all is going on in our like.
But if you're Summerall, here's the thing. If you're Summerall, you probably want to coach Kentucky. So there's one. Well, but if you're not going to get Kentucky, I don't know if Arkansas is where you want to go. I think because if you stay at Tulane another year or two, and let's say you go to the playoffs next year, right? Let's just say you do, because the road's easier. You have way more options to go places. I mean, if he were to get there, let's say Kirby didn't leave. Let's say Kirby left next year. He's not. If he doesn't leave this year for the Dallas job, he's not going anywhere. I mean, unless some like silly ass team gives him a lot of money, like that's already basically built. Like if Kansas City offered him $15 million to come in, and because what's his face retires or something, maybe.
The Rams?
No, nah, the Rams aren't good enough. Plus, I don't see Kirby living in LA. I think Kirby's going to go to a place where Kirby's going to feel comfortable, and Dallas is one of those places. I don't think he'd go to the Falcons. I think he'd go somewhere that's going to be, huh?
You don't think Kirby would go to the Falcons? That's an hour from where he is now.
No, because it's not set up. I think he's going to go to a place that has a ton of resources that is an attractive place for people to play right now, and Atlanta's just not that. Like, for all we make fun of the Cowboys aren't far off. Like, if they go and get the right guys in free agency and invest right, like the Cowboys could be a very good team next year. Like, they've got enough. They might need to, like, they have to figure their quarterback situation out, but that's about it. I think if you're Summerall, I wouldn't go to Arkansas. I wouldn't. Arkansas's like, it's different. Arkansas is like going to Kentucky. You're going to go to Kentucky and not Arkansas because you're a Kentucky guy, right? So, okay. Auburn, maybe. Traditional power, national champion, yes. LSU, power, national champion, yes. I think he'd go there. Obviously, Georgia, Alabama, all those places I get. But there's a couple others, like, if let's just use this hypothetical. If Georgia goes and gets Dan Lanning, he could go to Oregon. That's not a crazy leap.
So you're not sold on him coming here, but he could be the Oregon coach.
I'm not sold. I'm not sold on him coming here because I don't think he's going to come here. I also think going to the SEC versus going to the Big Ten is two completely different things. Two completely different animals when you're talking about that.
Yeah, but he's also a Southeastern guy.
Oregon also has hellacious amounts of money that we don't have.
I mean, if Oregon wants to make him the highest paid coach in the country, sure. But
no, I don't think they're going to do that. I mean, but like if you look at a domino effect, right? If Kirby left and let's say they fired Venables and Oklahoma took Tennessee, you're going to have a huge domino. There's going to be a huge domino. Like people are going to go get somebody and somebody's going to end up someplace they probably don't belong or is a job too fast because of that domino effect. So who's that guy? Yeah. Then I think Summerall has a higher chance of going somewhere that maybe is a step above where he probably should be.
All I was saying about Arkansas and Summerall is like someone Arkansas would go after. Like I think Arkansas would go after high-level group of 5 team. Summerall at the top of the list of high-level group of 5 teams. And also it would also depend on conversations he's had with Mitch Barnhart. As far as how things are going is another caveat I wanted to put in that. But yes, the domino effect, I am highly rooting for Kirby to go to the Cowboys simply because I never want to play against Kirby Smart again. I'm tired of playing against Kirby Smart. He's really good at coaching football teams, and he's really good at beating our football teams.
He's really, really, really good. He's really good at recruiting too.
Oh my gosh, I'm so tired of every day. It's a new guy that looks like he's 46 years old is committed to play for Georgia. I don't understand. It's like recruiting in dynasty mode on NCAA. It's like, oh, this guy's 6'5", 343 pounds at defensive end, runs a 4.42. You know, like what are we doing here? How is that guy in high school? But yes, but also the domino of all the coaches.
It'd be fun to watch.
Do what?
It'd be fun to watch.
Oh yeah. Plus, just Kirby and all of the Kirby things he does in the NFL, it feels like it would be funny. It feels like he would get fined a lot. And it feels like he would get mad about the fines, and he would get fined complaining about the fines.
It'd be fun though. I mean,
it would be fun.
I don't really want him to go to the Cowboys because I don't like the Cowboys. I don't want him to be good, and I feel like he'd probably make the Cowboys good again.
I guess just because I don't have an NFL team, I don't really care if the Cowboys are good or not.
I've always disliked the Cowboys.
But I did as a kid because my dad's a Cowboys fan, so I just wanted to root against him because it was funnier as a child. That was a pro sport thing just because it's because it was on the radio when he was a kid, not because we have any tie. Like Kentucky is like we live here. But my parents went there.
Mm-hmm.
So in pro sports, I decided I'm going to root against them since we were together in college. So I always root against the Cowboys, but now I don't. I don't care.
Such a
I just
nice
like people
boy.
who are good. I just like people who are good at football. And the
Um,
Cowboys, not good at football.
not good at football. Well, it's gonna be. I think there's a lot of interesting parallels and things that are gonna be coming about in the next, in the next 3 months. Um,
I mean, I
uh,
think you'll get a good glimpse the day after the Louisville game. The Sunday after the Louisville game is pretty
right
much the day
after,
that
like
I'm like,
that evening, is when things will start to go crazy in college
in
football,
football,
and the next day.
I'm like, survive. Don't get blown out this weekend. Beat Louisville because it's funny. And I'll see you the Sunday after Louisville for when I'm really looked back in on where we're going with this thing.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
up
but
until then, I don't think it matters what happens between now and the Sunday after Louisville. And it's
beat Texas, beat Texas. There's a thing. Lane Kiffin said something. I missed the chance because about teams not wanting to like play in the SEC title game, and then I posted it, and I was like, "Damn, I missed an opportunity not to retweet it and say, or don't lose to Kentucky."
I
Missed it.
understand what he's saying about
I
not
do
wanting to
too.
play in the SEC championship.
I do too. I mean,
Teams,
it's
there's no reward for playing in the SEC championship.
no, but you
It's
can't
only
not have
like
an SEC championship game, because then you might have a team like, maybe, obviously, because I was right, Missouri was not as good as everyone thought they were going to be. Thank you to me. But also
yeah.
Kentucky wasn't as good as I thought they would be. So I'm a dumbass at the same time.
It turns out we're flipping coins over here.
Yeah, just like literally just pulling shit out of your ass. Like it really doesn't matter. Um,
There are
but
numbers. They
but you
change.
get a team like that, and maybe they are better, or they handle the schedule well, and they win the SEC and get into the playoffs. They really shouldn't be there because they didn't play a really good schedule. And if they would have played like an Alabama or an Auburn, they probably would have gotten the back door blown off them. Now, it hasn't happened. I think just about every team that's probably getting. I think if no matter what team gets in the SEC championship game, I think both teams probably should go.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
both teams deserve to go.
Both teams plus. I would say if there's assuming if things go chalk the next 2 weekends and the teams are kind of
We
like
could.
where we expect them to be, um, I would be shocked slash upset if there are less than 5 SEC teams in the playoff.
I think they're going to get 4 at least, maybe 3 to 4. I think is a lock.
Texas, Bama, Georgia, Ole Miss.
Those are the
Texas, Bama,
4 right
Georgia,
now.
Ole Miss, Tennessee.
They're the odd man out.
I think all 5 of those teams should be in if things go chalk.
Well, yeah, if that who's Tennessee got the next
Now
2 weeks? They got any?
it's
They
Vandy
got
and Oklahoma.
Vandy and
No,
UTEP.
they
So
already
there's a
played
good. Yeah, they're
Oklahoma.
probably winning. They're not losing again.
Who is the other? It's not that good of a team.
UTEP,
Oh
Vandy and
yeah,
UTEP.
that'd be. I was like, they've played all the SEC teams. Who do they have
Yeah,
left?
Vandy and UTEP.
Yeah, so I would say those 5, barring a loss, should be in.
Kentucky could do a really strange thing and really just
That would be
throw a
so
big
funny.
fat wrench.
It would be
Big
so
wrench.
funny.
Oh, God, dude, there's so many wrenches that get thrown on Friday. We're gonna talk about all those. Because tomorrow we got JD Shelburne coming on the show tomorrow. So that'll be good. But Friday when we talk about football, there's a lot of this thing. If you think it's fun now, these next 2 weeks could just throw a big fat bomb in the middle of everything, and it could be really fun.
They have a couple chances to keep me in. They have a couple chances to reel me back into having fun with the football program. Because currently I am upset with
Just
them
win.
and for the things that they have done. Uh,
Currently, I am disgruntled.
yes, I'm not pleased with the way that things have gone recently. Uh, Beating Texas and or Louisville, specifically Louisville, would bring me off the cliff. I would be
I mean, beating football would make me feel a lot better. Losing to Louisville, if they go 4-8, the Monday show is going to be no fun.
It really is. It really is just beat Louisville. Like, save me from being mad at you all off season. Just beat Louisville.
I'm still going to be mad. The difference between being mad and furious.
I get to have moments of joy throughout the off season anytime I see a Louisville fan, which as opposed to being sad every time I see a Louisville fan. I would prefer that.
Well, the good news is that in basketball we should be happy again.
Yeah. There's only certain sides of Twitter where that works. Football Twitter is a lot funnier. Football is a lot more stupid. There are a lot more stupid things that happen in football, it feels like. And if I run into Louisville Twitter fans, I don't want to have to just tell them 5 of the last 6, and then they say last one, and then I get sad. So
yeah, I know. All right, man. Well, we'll be back tomorrow with JD Shelburne, and we'll talk, some more Kentucky basketball tomorrow. And then Friday we'll really dig in. We might have another guest Friday potentially. We'll see. Still working on some. There's a lot of big guests we're talking to, right? Or we got a lot of big people coming on the show in the next couple of weeks. We just got to get times and stuff confirmed. So appreciate.